Welcome everybody, it's LOZA. We're going to get straight into it today. Miasma Necromancer is going to make Dark Magician the best deck in 2026. So let's jump straight into it. Alright, Magician's Soul's got a massive buff from Miasma existing, and let's go through that right now. Magician's Soul sends the Dark Magician Girl from Shining Sark because guess what? She doesn't identify as her name while on the field, and we'll get into that a little bit later. We are going to be using the Primite engine here as an example, but later on I'll show you Magician's Rod, and maybe even some Diabell lines as well, just to go over all the Dark Magician engines that we have been playing in Modern Dark Magician. Now Beryl has got us Load, and Load has got us Drill Beam, and now Magician Souls gets some value, sending Drill Beam for a draw, while Drill Beam resets itself while Beryl's still on the field. Very cool. Now we can go into the Miasma, which doesn't have any artwork yet on Yu-Gi-Oh! Omega, but that's okay. We're going to add back the Shining Sark Dark Magician Girl, and guess what? Her name is Dark Magician Girl while on the field if we special summon her by discarding a card, which is not the name that Miasma said we cannot use the effect of. So we are able to add Shining Sark with Dark Magician Girl. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, when Miasma's Link Summon, you add a level 5 or higher Dark Spellcaster from grave to hand, but you cannot activate cards or the effects of cards with its name for the rest of the turn. That's the first part of Miasma, and you'll notice that, well, guess what? This chick is called Dark Magician Girl, the Magician's Apprentice. But when you special summon her, this card's name becomes Dark Magician Girl. So guess what? She gets around the Miasma locking us out of her effect. So now that we have the Shining Sark, we are able to just extend our plays out the wazoo. We're going to go grab the Shining Sark Dark Magician with the big long name. He's going to put himself down on the field, and we're going to turn him straight into Dark Magician of Destruction because, you know, this card is insane. We're going to search for anything in our deck. Illusion of Chaos is probably the optimal card. We're going to skip to Rod because Illusion of Chaos will just get you Rod. We can't normal Rod, so why did I add Rod? Well, Miasma has a second effect. You can send a spell trap from hand or field to grave, immediately normal summon a spellcaster. Yes, we now have a way to normal summon in Dark Magician a second time. Sending our Shining Sarcophagus to the grave, we're going to normal summon our Magician's Rod. Rod go and get us Soul Servant, which will get us Gaze of Timaeus a little bit later. But now is where we have to do a bunch of Link summoning. But before we do that, we've got Dark Magician Girl on the field and Dark Magician on the field. So it's a very good time to go Soul Servant, Gaze. We're going to banish, and we're going to draw two, one of them of course being the Gaze, and a second card being a random card. Awesome. We've got a 5-card hand, but we're not done yet. We started with 5 cards, but we're not finished yet. Topple Object Bomber is an excellent end board piece right here. You simply just make it with 3 of the cards here and leave one of them on the field. Normally you want to get Rod off the field and this off the field, so you leave the DMG. I'm going to show you what I've been experimenting with as an end board that I think is kind of crazy. First thing we need to do is use make Selene using Dark Magician of Destruction and whatever this thing's name is. I've already forgotten. Miasma, sorry. The Selene effect is going to proc, and we're going to need to chain Gaze of Timaeus here. And there's a reason for this. Selene needs to see 3 spell cards on the field or graves, and we've got 1, 2, and if you look in our graveyard, we have a 3rd. So Gaze on the field here means it will see 3 counters, and that's important for the opponent's turn. So we're going to now summon our Dragoon very early. Normally we'd wait till the opponent's turn to use Gaze. We're going to summon him a little bit earlier. If Selene's got 3 counters, I can actually use her effect to summon a spellcaster from the grave. Nothing here is worth summoning though. So what we're actually going to do now is you can just go into SP or IP. I'm going to go straight into IP Mask here because we can use that later to make SP, which is insane. But we still have Lordly Load. So let's go and summon the Dark Magician from our deck. And that's just going to be a great way to round out our end board. On the opponent's turn, I'll show you everything crazy we can do. We've got so much going on here and 4 cards in the hand. This is insane. Okay, I've remade the scenario on Dueling Book so I can just better explain all the actions you can do. So the very first thing you're going to want to do with this board is use the Dragoon Negate on the first thing your opponent does. So that is going to be the first interaction. And just so we know we've burned the Dragoon Negate, I will give him the counter so you know he's on 4k as well. Now that we've used Dragoon Negate, the next thing your opponent does, so the second interruption, we are going to flip up and use the Drill Beam. Now because Drill Beam is our second negate and it is a spell, we will be triggering the effect of Rotting Grave, and to do this we will tribute the Dragoon, which will banish itself anyway because it was summoned off Gaze, and we will add to the hand Magician's Rod. In response to doing this, we are going to declare the effect of Selene, removing all 3 of her counters to target the Dragoon in our graveyard and special summon him in defense mode to a zone she points to. On resolution of Selene using her effect, we're also going to try to use IP Masquerena to now link her away with the Selene to make SP only if the opponent has a card on the field for us to banish, because then of course you can use your SP and banish a card on your opponent's field. So we've now got the SP banish. We would also have the SP second banish, if you want to call it that, and we would still have the Dragoon negate 2. And of course, we've added Rod to the hand, which can be used as a Dragoon discard negate or as follow-up for the next turn. So after we've used the SP banish, the second SP banish potentially, and then in the end phase she's returned to the field, and we potentially use the Dragoon negate as well, we will be looking at a board and hand like this, probably with an extra card in the bin. Whether you discard your Rod or something else, that doesn't really matter. We would then draw for turn, and then of course Beryl in the grave is going to add herself back, and we can kind of just do it all again, right? We've got the resources to just keep playing, because normal summoning Beryl not only gets us to a spell for Dark Magician of Destruction, it lets us reset the Drill Beam. I think this is probably the best starting board you can make with Dark Magician, as long as you open Magician Souls and Primite Beryl. But let me know what you think in the comments before we get into the next combo. Alright, we're getting into a little replay here for if you happen to open Magician Souls and Magician's Rod, which is, you know, the staple Dark Magician special and normal summon combo. So we're opening up and normaling the Rod, getting Soul Servant. Souls is sending the Dark Magician Girl again. We're going into Miasma, adding back the new Dark Magician Girl, pitching that Soul Servant to search Shining Sock and summon Dark Magician Girl. Shining Sock, of course, coming down, getting the Dark Magician from Shining Sock, summoning out the Dark Magician from Shining Sock. And we're going to be able to go into Dark Magician of Destruction, get that Gaze of Timaeus, because we have already normal summoned, though we do have the additional one, but Rod is once per turn. Going to go into Topologic Bomber and pass with the Gaze of Timaeus set just over here, which means on the opponent's turn we're just able to, you know, wipe their board when we feel it's an appropriate time. Summon the Dragoon. Dragoon's of course protected from destruction because of his effects, so Topologic Bomber does not bomb him. And then yeah, you can pretty much get to that board pretty easily with just Rod and Souls. There might be more to do in that past combo, and then even this one where we're opening up the Diabell and Magician Souls. You're going to see Soul sending the Dark Magician Girl once again, and then the Diabell discarding a random card to set the Deceptions. Flip the Deceptions, so we've used the spell. Diabell's going to become Dark Magician of Destruction, adding Magician's Rod. Magician's Rod coming down as our normal summon, adding Soul Servant. Then we're going to link Rod and Souls into Miasma. Miasma going to add back that Dark Magician Girl of the Shining Sock variant. Going to summon her, discarding another random card from hand, getting Shining Sock. Shining Sock's going to come down, getting Dark Magician of Shining Sock. You can probably see how the lines are starting to kind of become the same or similar. Summon the Dark Magician of Shining Sock, Soul Servant to stack, Gaze of Timaeus. Not going to use the draw yet. Go into Selene while Soul Servant's in the grave, so we get 3 counters. Then banish, draw Gaze on a random card. Then we're going to flip Deception. I'll use Deception, getting rid of Dark Magician Girl, get Azamena, fuse into Resilago, and then make her into IP with Dark Magician of Destruction. Use Hollowed Azamena Engrave to add back. Of course, using the Wanted added off Resilago and the Hallowed Azamena coming back to make the Sylvia. Now we've got a negate, we've got IP, we've got Selene, we've got Shining Sock randomly on the field if your opponent summons from grave and you've got a spell in hand. We've got Gaze. We've got a lot of things going on. We just unfortunately missed the Rod effect in grave to, you know, tribute that Dragoon because we haven't gazed early in this combo. So that could have been something I did a bit better here. You can just summon Dark Magician Girl off Selene and add a Shining Sock. That means your Shining Sock is live. So that's kind of what I wanted to show off with that Selene summoning the Dark Magician Girl. It's not completely random. If your opponent is playing a deck where you know they're going to summon from grave, that play is actually quite viable. Anyway, thanks for joining me again, guys. It's been LOZA. I'm going to have more Dark Magician combos coming up soon. Let me know what you thought of these combos, and if you've got a cool combo yourself, please put it down in the comments for me to read and maybe feature in a video. Thank you. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and if you're a Dark Magician Royal, a member of our channel, you are a legend. Thank you very much for helping me out. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.